Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I'm glad you all could make it to my talk, Automating Myself from Customer Intent to Information System and what we can learn from it by me, Valentin Bister. Let's get right started. I'm going to talk to you today about a few topics, which are mainly AI coding, experiment, the full automation, and then we want to discuss the results together. While doing so, we have a set of questions you may want to keep in your head, which is where are we today, where are we going with this, and what does that mean for the field and for us in our profession? With these questions in mind, we want to dive into our introduction, vibe coding, the status quo, and some definitions around it. For starters, vibe coding, I want to differentiate it from AI-enhanced software engineering, big bulky word to kind of show, yeah, these are really two different concepts, right? On one hand, we have vibe coding. On the other hand, we have like doing our actual jobs, just using AI to do it with us, to help us do it. So that means we are actually just working as normal. We are not using AI or developing AI itself, but rather we are using AI like coding agents, review agents, or whatever you might have included into your workflow. So it's just a method for software development. And to understand new methods, well, for me, I was not yet in the field when the last big revolution happened, which was, in my opinion, cloud. So I was like, okay, how can I understand new methods and how do new methods affect us in our daily work? So I went to models. This is a model from Kuhn. You will see it in full in a moment. It's a model about how scientific revolution plays out. So it's a bit adapted to computer science and to our methodological problem, but in my opinion, it works really great for us. Normally, we have normal science. This is what we do every day, normal programming in our case, because we are not talking about science, right? And then an anomaly happens. In our case, that was release of AI coding agents. With this anomaly, we can now either see, it's just normal coding after all. AI coding, it's basically the same thing. Or we say, oh, this is actually not normal coding. This yields change in how we approach coding. This crisis, as it's called by Kuhn, is characterized by insecurity, contending theories, and loosening of old paradigma. Maybe we can start seeing that. And in a crisis situation, we still can go back to normal programming. Be like, this crisis, AI coding hype is over. We're done with it. Let's just do normal coding again. Let's just do normal coding with AI, and that's it. We're done. That is one path. Again, we can go further into revolution. Revolution, now we see a bit the age of that model. Young scientists start to adhere to the new paradigm, while old scientists also start to switch their view on it. Which just means, now the new thing, AI coding, is the new normal. And we go back to normal science or normal programming. And in this context, here we see the guy. I again want to ask our questions. Where are we today? Where are we going? And what does that mean for us? Are we in an anomaly? And will we be going back? Are we even in a crisis? Or even more interesting, worse, I don't know, in a revolution? And to answer these questions, I was like, okay, let's start looking into this. Let's see what people in the field think about this, right? Maybe you for yourself can also see and try to figure out where you are standing by trying to think along about which of these words you may say, that sounds right. Is AI coding maybe, in your opinion, mostly fast or expensive or cheap? Or is it maybe risky or the future even? Or just overhyped? And to see what the people really think, I went to the one place where everybody finds truth, which is LinkedIn. So I did a bit of poor man's clustering on LinkedIn stuff to see what people think about it. And many people think it's fast, or it's expensive, or it's cheap, or it's, then we have some scientists who are questioning, is it any good? Is it a waste of time even? Some say it's faster, some say it's too risky. And then we have lots and lots and lots of people talking about all the risks, of course. And I then went ahead and did made it a bit easier for myself. I tried to put these groups into 2 groups, basically the optimists, the old scientists, and the new scientists, to use Kuhn's words, or the optimists, the pessimists, name it however you would like it. One group says, AI coding, it's cheap, it's fast. We are optimists, I think it's the future, and I think this will go on to be the next big thing. We can do so many things with it. We can do rapid prototyping. We can just start playing with code, because code loses lots of its costs, which are affiliated with it. And this newfound freedom gives us new opportunities to develop code. And on the other hand, we have the people who say, whenever I do something, it's not really what the client wanted. The quality is more than questionable. It's overhyped. Traditionally, I used to develop better software myself without use of AI. I don't actually need it. Also, I am just better at it because I am a human. Of course, my code is better than what a stupid machine can produce, right? And people have very grounded issues in trusting these systems to actually produce something which is useful. Specifications, we all know AI is a black box, hallucinations happens, so it's not like it's really easy to move forward with this. To give some quotes I saw, which I would say to these groups or try to characterize these groups with, I also don't know how a compiler works, nor do I care to move up a layer with AI coding. On the other hand, people are saying we are eroding the very skills which make us valuable by using AI, because we lose touch with what we are actually doing. But something I found, most people do agree we at least hit a crisis in Kuhn's model. Most people are actually, like, we see challenge to the status quo in the field. And with that information, I was still not really satisfied to answer my questions. So I tried to do an experiment to see where are we today, to get a better answer, which is where the full automation comes in, automating myself. So can we actually generate applications fully automatically? Because in my opinion, at least, that would be kind of revolutionary. If we could build actual working business code, not just vibe code something, right, but actual code customers want to use. I know we can't just be like, let's please build Versal, make no mistakes. So it's a bit more complicated than that. So I sat down and I started thinking. And in my opinion, it's 3 big problems which are holding us back, which are there to be solved. We have complexity, we have the business logic from the client, which is what is setting us apart from vibe coding, or one of the factors setting us apart from vibe coding. And then we have, as a symptom of the other 2, AI is going off track. It's not doing what we actually want it to do. We get different results, we get wrong results. And then I was like, okay, let's start finding solutions then. And lucky coincidence, I'm working at MyStekz, and you won't believe it, but we have a business modeling platform where we can put in our specifications. Lucky coincidence, I know. So we can go ahead and start modeling our business. And with that approach, we first start like gathering context, understanding your company, understanding your vision, your mission, all of these things, and we put it in our platform MyStekz. Then you can split your business into domains. One domain we see right here. Oh no, slides is going to make me, force me to speak Dutch. So we have the Strade, I guess, domain. And in that domain, there's services we are offering. So in this case, it's the claimverwerking, I guess, somewhere in here. And in that Strade process, we can then have BPMN-driven process, in this case, Klantenkommunikatie. So this defines a business layer process. It's not a complex one, but this is like ground truth. This is how we do it in our company. And this is what needs to be built. And lucky coincidence, we have the business logic already formalized. So now we only have to solve complexity and the symptoms of all the other problems in the field. And I think we can at least try to tackle that, so we go to building. And after a bit of tinkering, out came this. To give you a short explanation of the system we came up with. In the center, we have the MyStekz code generator. This is a fork of the Cloudflare Vibe SDK. Pretty fun toy, actually. Recently it released. So it's an open source full stack AI web app generator. We expanded it and turned it into our own thing by adding an MCP server. You all hopefully know what that is, to get the business context in. With this setup, we could then, let me quickly do something here on my screen. With this setup, we could go ahead and get the business context into the code generator. We could get the LLMs linked up. In this case, we are using different ones from OpenRouter. And then put all our build code, we're not building it on our local machine, in the cloud. So it's already running, platform agnostic, apart from my computer. And with all of that, and especially with the code already running in the cloud, it's already also deployable. So we can have a running application already deployed in the cloud as a deliverable from our process, which is quite nice. How does it look in practice? So in practice, we have a few phases. We start by bootstrapping a project. We put in an initial prompt, in this case, build a countdown to my lunch break. AI goes about, you all seen this part before probably, and it, usually then you make a plan first, right? In our case, we first select a template. From this initial prompt, we go into our registry of different already runnable applications. So we have inclusive of deployment, including all the bells and whistles. We already have runnable applications where we only need to add the business layer code, basically. We choose one of those templates, we bootstrap the project, and then we start discussing requirements. In our case, then, we will get the code via the MCP from MyStekz to get your business process, to get the ground truth process, to solve the actual problem you have. With that, we then go ahead and generate a plan for you. And this plan is then implemented by the Frontier LLM models in an editor like the one you see over here. One thing you might come to expect is code. Code is hidden here under this button. You cannot edit it at all. We moved completely away from being able to edit the code. We can still see it, but in this flow, you can't edit it anyways, right? So why bother look at it? We are removing ourselves more from the loop. And as you can see, this is already deployed. You can now send it to your colleague. You can send it to the customer and be like, hey, let's discuss on the basis of this. So this setup allowed us to tackle the complexity, especially with the templates, which do, for example, all the infrastructure as code stuff for us already. With the planning phase, something everybody by now figured out, planning phase is always good if you work with LLM coding. And with the MyStekz agent, which also solved the business layer problem for us, as well as the AI going off track. So this Vibe SDK, it has a lot of smart features. It makes screenshots from your application and feeds them back into a feedback loop. We changed lots of prompts and did all kinds of little tuning thingies. We have a check against the plan. We have a check against business logic via the MCP. And with this setup, actually, now the question is, again, can we use this setup to really now build our application? Well, to show you some quick results, I built lots and lots and lots of applications with this to get a good feeling for it, to see really how it performs. We can deploy very simple logins, which is actually nice. We can put that in templates, and then we can get building to applications. This, for example, is an application we built when we go out with the company for drinks to rate which bars we want to go to the next time. Also, I build onboarding flows, I build portfolios, I build games. You can really build lots of software really quick, but the interesting part I want to dive in detail is, of course, business software. In our case, this is an onboarding flow. This is how it looks in MyStekz. It's a business process modeling notation, I guess. You don't need to get the details, but you can see the different steps. It's a process, multiple parties are involved, and in the end, we have onboarded an employee. So this would be, in the MyStekz terminology, a service we are offering in our domain of human resources, for example. And with this, I got coding, right? This is now all we need in the context of this experiment. So what comes out if we put in this process? let's see. What comes out is this. It's a working application. It's good. We are right now, we see we don't have user management, we only have mocked user management right now. We are the CTO right now. And our CTO already has a first task. He needs to create Alice's GitLab account, and it seems also her Sentry account. And we are all done. If we change our role, oh man, we see lots of new tasks. We have lots of views. We have the opportunity or the possibility to change the rules of the flow via a JSON import, and we have all the views one would expect. Is this application perfect? Let's discuss. Let's see. Now I need to bring back the right application. One moment. So, we want to discuss the results. Is this perfect now? Especially, by the way, in the context of where are we today, where are we going with this, and what does that mean for us in the field? Well, we can automate. That one is for sure. It is working, it's running, you saw it, it's in the cloud, you can access it right now and onboard people. You can build it fast. But this is a very simple application, of course. We all know that, right? So in my opinion, we are there for very simple applications and mock-ups, or testing around, stuff like that. What is a game changer is, of course, having ground truth specification. That is something which is required. Otherwise, yeah, what are we implementing? Nobody knows. It's just a feeling, basically. We are doing the right thing. Moreover, in my opinion, to make this really attainable, we need more templates and solutions for basically all the production issues, right? We need solutions for secret management, for basically all the environment stuff. You get the gist of it. But this is all very, very manageable, actually. For us, for ourselves, we got the idea we want to build a specific feedback loop for this, basically, which checks your processes of business correctness, like a unit test kind of setup, but you're not checking for, is this one method performing correctly, but is the whole process flow performing correctly checked against a defined business process? And if we have this tooling, and we put it together with a bit of creative tinkering, with lots of iteration and tooling, because if we have a method to see if it is correct and we can iterate, or we even have a function to determine gain, we can just run it many times and then arrive at the correct solution. With that, we could also see, okay, we can only build simple applications, but many simple things make up a whole, right? So if we had the central database and the central intelligence, which then dispatches these little tasks, because they are built as processes anyway with known definition, known roles, because that is all in MyStekz, we can start building our business step by step. I'm not saying that this architecture makes a ton of sense, but it's possible. So yeah, overall, that is the technical results. If we look on the higher level results, thinking back about our model, where are we? Maybe you guys also have a personal opinion. In my opinion, especially with these experiments, I arrived personally at the conclusion that we are already in the revolutionary phase, at the very beginning of it. Because, yeah, in my opinion, that I didn't code this code is quite, yeah, that's really changing how we interact with code. So the next step will be normal programming again, but with AI. And the question is how we will get there. There's another great model, again, philosophy of science. This is, if we think about the revolutionary character of science and breakthroughs in science, this is what follows from it. Once Newton figured out how movement works, basically, how gravity works, we could do lots and lots of science with it. And then we hit a plateau until Einstein came about and was like, yeah, guys, that's actually not how gravity works. And with that idea, we were able to come up with GPS and all kinds of other neat inventions because it was another breakthrough. And that is why this S-curve forms. Once we hit the revolution, we make lots of progress, usually. In my opinion, for the software development tooling and what we do with our new anomaly of AI coding, we are still at the beginning of the S-curve. We are still somewhere here. While I have the feeling that for AI itself, for the LLMs, we already moved past it. So in my opinion, it's basically time to get better tooling, to understand better how to work with what we have. In my opinion, we are not thinking enough about this. We can see that with, for example, Scrum. Lots of people like Scrum, lots of people do Scrum, but if you actually think about it, the concept of the sprint and all that, if we have AI coding bots who can write code for a 4-week sprint in 2 days, how good does this pattern still work for us? Maybe we have to rethink what we did for long times, also on a technical level. We saw this editor we used. You don't see the code. Maybe we also should rethink how IDEs should work for us. Maybe we have to rethink how testing software actually works and how much we need to test and in which ways we want to test software. And with that, some personal remarks about what does that now mean. In my opinion, I should try to not be the old scientist who's left behind, right? My skill was never just the artifact of Python code. My skill was problem solving, my skill was system thinking, and that is all still required, that is still there. And if you really like the coding, in my opinion, there's more than enough for one lifetime to still do in coding. If we look at all the Cobalt developers who are now making really great money with their old systems, right? But, or not but, thinking back to this, are we actually eroding the very skills which make us valuable? I would tend to disagree. But you might tend to disagree with what I'm saying, actually, because maybe there will never be a revolution. Maybe the next phase is normal programming again, and we go back and we're like, nah, man, this AI hype, that was also stupid. You remember 2025, we all thought AI is taking over? Yeah, no, it was so stupid, right? So this is not really, this is not a definite thing that this revolution will happen, but just my opinion. So you will have to figure that one out for yourself. Only time will tell, in my opinion. While doing so, we must really not forget about all the risks. I skimmed over most of them now. In my opinion, the most annoying ones actually is the big tech tax. If we think about it now, we have to pay taxes to big model providers for the code we write. And that we have to do forever, if we think my stance on it to the end, which is not good. We lose our freedom. Right now, a compiler will compile whatever I throw at it as long as it's correct, right? And an LLM will not write malware for me. So I am also losing my freedom to write the code the LLMs don't want to write in the long term. And also, I mean, obviously, we all worked with AI. Probably we all know about the massive project and personal level risks which come around working with AI. And with that, I want to thank you for your time and plug the Hex game. If you want to challenge me for a game, we can do so. Yes.